Hello everyone, greetings from National Skills Network. Today we are going to discuss a very important industry sector and the impact skilling has on this sector, particularly in the backdrop of COVID and the resilience this industry has shown over the last few months. We are talking about hospitality sector, and we have with us Mr. Shiladitya Samaddar, who is the principal lead operations at Tata STRIVE. So what are we going to ask Shiladitya? There are many questions for you, Shiladitya. To begin with, how is the industry coping with the post-COVID situation now that we see life is getting back to the old normal? So how is the industry, and what are the kind of skilling interventions that are newly happening in the industry today?
Thank you. Thank you, Madhuriji, first of all, for having me here in your platform. To quickly answer your question, three things. First and foremost, every hotel chain has come up very strongly in the post-pandemic time. While they have been able to persevere through the pandemic, they have all now coming back strong. Having said so, the three trends that we see in the industry that has come up, and we see it in irrespective of whichever hotel chain we are talking about. We see, number one, there is an extra emphasis on hygiene. Number two, there's an extra emphasis on technology, because hygiene only manually would not be sufficient in today's world to ensure the satisfaction and the desired qualities that a guest is expecting. So definitely tech interventions in each and every department of the hotel, whether it's front office, whether it's F&B, whether it's kitchen stewarding, stores, each and every department, there has been some kind of a tech intervention. And newer models which have come up, whether we are talking about cloud kitchens, whether we are talking about people moving out of the cities and the metropolitan cities and moving to smaller locations for homestays and other things. So we have seen that the business has evolved. Many brands have even gone out and opened newer, different brands, differentiated service designs, which are helping the industry to persevere through. But overall, I think the brands, each and every one of them, have come out very strong post-pandemic.
I think this is presenting the most optimistic side of an industry, which could be like an exemplary industry to showcase various skills themselves. Like you just spoke about perseverance, resilience, bouncing back and so many things. And I think COVID has indirectly given an opportunity to many more people to enter into this industry, like you just said, and with cloud kitchens and new concepts, and also a lot of innovation. So in this backdrop, Shiladitya, you have already been offering many skill-based training programs from Tata STRIVE. So what are some of the most important programs that are being offered in this industry? And has there been a change in the curriculum or the way these programs are presented during the post-COVID times? Like right now, are there some changes being made to cope with the new situation?
I'll answer your question in two parts. First, what kind of skills are needed? So you talk of hospitality industry, and the core skills are always in demand. And when I talk of core skills, is the skills to do with food production. That's what we commonly call as kitchen. The skills that are for service, F&B service is what we commonly know it as, and rooms division, which is basically most of housekeeping and front office. So they jointly together comprise or make rooms division. So these are the core skills: your housekeeping skills, your food and beverage service skills, and your food production skills. These are three things which are always on demand. In light of the pandemic, while hotels had to kind of cut staff and manage their costs and survive the first 2 years, what we have seen that the housekeeping requirement has stayed constant, or in certain cases it has increased. Because while people may not be splurging luxuriously in the hotels, but they would still be requiring that much amount of hygiene and sanitation to be provided as a part of service. So housekeeping came up stronger. The awareness of housekeeping, the awareness of cleanliness has become strong in the customer today. So these three skills are definitely top of mind for everyone. And these three are the ones where maximum learners and enrollments are happening. As an organization, Tata STRIVE, we have multiple different courses to offer in the hospitality segment. Only in the segment of kitchen, we have three different courses. We have a course called Commis Chef, which is towards the basic entry level. We have a multi-cuisine cook, which is slightly more nuanced than that. And then we have a specialization course for bakery. Similarly, we have courses for bartending and for F&B service steward, which is in the domain of service. We have courses in housekeeping, again at 3 different levels. We have one for the homestays. We have one which is for basic housekeepers. And then we have one for room attendants and slightly higher executives. Over and above this, we have courses for front office associates and front office executives. So we have an overall about a bouquet of 9 to 10 courses only in the hospitality segment. Moving to the second part of your questions, where you were asking that what would be the newer changes in the curriculum. Yes, there has been significant changes in the curriculum. Kitchen stewarding, what we call as adaptation of technology in hospitality has increased a lot. So we have to train our learners more on how to use technology, especially if they are in front office and housekeeping, in maintaining hygiene. We are training more our learners on aspects of food science, where earlier the learners and the awareness on food science, on food hygiene was not so strong. Okay. On food science, on food hygiene, on hygienic factors in housekeeping, and what today there are new terms people have come in. There are no contact rooms, there are no contact services, there are allergen-free rooms which are being created. Now, these terms were slightly restricted to the best of the brands, but today even the medium level brands, the budget hotels are also talking of these terms. So definitely the curriculum has expanded, if I'm allowed to say so, to ensure that these newer topics, these newer service designs have been included in the curriculum.
Yeah, that's interesting. And this is a good example of, I think, what we call as being, matching the dynamism of the industry and being dynamic in, meeting the needs of the industry as the industry is changing. And another important aspect of this industry has been technology adoption. Like you just mentioned, how technology is being adopted, and COVID kind of, became an accelerator there. Already there were technology interventions. Now, parallelly for training also during COVID or even after that, we have come up with new blended learning models and so on. So how do you think this particular industry, which needs a lot of hands-on learning, hands-on experience while learning, can adopt these models? Maybe you can give us an example from one of the courses at Tata STRIVE itself.
So yes, this is a course which is extremely heavy on hands-on practice. And I personally don't feel, and I'm fairly strong on my opinion on this, that unless and until you have done enough practice, you would not be faring well when you hit the shop floor. There's no substitute to good practice, a lot of practicals. You have to put in your hours in your practical lab. You have to carry the salver enough number of hours so that you're used to and you're not dropping champagne tulips in front of the guest. And there is no substitute to it. There is no amount of videos you watch or amount of YouTubes you see. You'll be able to get that muscle control that to hold the salver. You will not get the speed to cut through vegetables when you are in guard manja or so on and so forth. You will not be able to sustain those amount of beds and vacuuming of rooms. So that's there. There's no substitute to that. However, what has happened in the pandemic, there's a considerable amount of part of theoretical understanding and knowledge which is there in any hospitality course, irrespective of the department or the specialization you're choosing. And in such cases, this is the component which can be substituted in a blended format, or this can be given to a learner in a blended format. However, one needs to understand 3 things, or rather 4 things. Number one, these learners are from a strata of society who were never the intellectually most bright students in their class. They were probably the medium ones or the ones who were lagging in studies. And that's why they have chosen something which is more on practical and maybe slightly lesser on studies. Yeah. Having said so, the other 3 important things when you go for digital learning, number one, device. Does the learner have an appropriate device that you can complement it with a blended course? If you don't have a device that is helping you in a blended course, it's a trouble. Second, data. When you talk about digital learning, you're consuming a lot of data. You have the economic bandwidth, the social bandwidth to consume that much of data. Third, the discipline. These learners, they might have 3 other things to do. They might also be the partial bread earners for their respective families. So do they have the amount of time to spend to get through the digital models, to kind of augment their livelihood opportunities with the studies that they are doing? These 4 things in place, blended learning is the way to go. And I very strongly believe here that going forward, there would be blended learning here to stay. I mean, there would be a lot of blended learning that we will see in each and every course that we do. We understand that these courses are heavy in practical, but there will always be a component of this course which will become blended.
Yeah, so I think this has really set in now the pace for people to adopt blended learning models. And like you very rightly said, even an industry like hospitality, which needs a lot of practical experience, can work very well with the blended formats. Now, Shiladitya, there's another important angle to the industry. When you look at the entire country, we have beautiful places, beautiful landscapes, and then there are small places where a lot of people have started homestays, and these are all becoming popular alongside, let's say, small food joints. And these are all very unorganized kind of industry sector, I would say. So is there something happening from Tata STRIVE at this point to promote entrepreneurship in a more formalized way, with a bit of skilling, a bit of knowledge and awareness? And how do you see this unfolding in the coming years, this particular sector that we are talking about?
Entrepreneurship is the way ahead. I don't think as a country we would be able to provide jobs to everyone. There would be a certain percentage of people, and even the best of the corporates and the government in all their efforts would not suffice to provide jobs for everyone. And there should be encouragement to entrepreneurs because over a period of time, they are the ones who will be providing the other jobs. Yeah. So if there had been no Oyos of the world, there wouldn't have been any Zomatos of the world and Swiggies of the world who may have started as a small entity, as an entrepreneur. Today are big names in the industry. Yeah. Having said so, yes, Tata STRIVE is doing quite some work in this particular aspect. I will divide it into 2 different parts. First, purely on entrepreneurship, we have a course which is running in one of our centers in Chindwara, where we do a certificate course in cooking and baking, which is towards encouraging entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs. This particular course is designed in such a manner that it would help young entrepreneurs set up their own cloud kitchen, set up their own tiny restaurants, or set up their carts, pop-up restaurants, so on and so forth. The menus, the kitchen, the culinary skills, the inventory, it is taught as a part of the curriculum in a manner that it encourages them to start something on their own. That on the technical skilling part of it. We also have courses which are running in different parts of the country which encourage and give people with ideas a seed capital to start something on their own. And we are running this course in Orissa, we are running this course in Nasik in Maharashtra. There are multiple different locations that we are also coming up in this particular year with this opportunity, where we are also providing the seed capital. The third thing is people who have assets. We are talking about locations in Rajasthan. We're talking about locations in Uttarakhand, in Ladakh, in Jammu and Kashmir. People have assets. People just need a bit of training and they are good to start something on their own. This is where we are doing our intervention in the homestay segment. We are coming up with a training program which is in collaboration with the Ladakh government. And we would be doing a training of about 100 plus entrepreneurs for their homestays intervention or homestays initiative that they want to start with. So again, there we have a skilling component for people who have assets and who want to start off something on their own, and people who would not need initial seed capital or a lot of detailed training. So these are certain 3 different things that Tata STRIVE is doing presently. And we are very sure that we would be doing and seeing a lot more entrepreneurial courses or opportunities that Tata STRIVE would be coming forward with in the coming year.
That's really great to know, because like you said just now, there is scope for a lot of entrepreneurship in this sector. And also the popular saying goes, like we say, Atithi Devo Bhava, which is like treating your guest as God. And here I think the service aspect is so important. There are so many skills which you just mentioned are so very critical in this particular service. So towards the end of this conversation, is there something you wish to add, to whatever you said, or is there any advice to other training companies or other training organizations who might want to get into this sector, or who would want to improve, taking few best practices from Tata STRIVE?
Not much. I would just give two small advices. Number one, have good trainers. It is very important to have good trainers. I have, over my stint with Tata STRIVE in the last 7.5 years and 7 years, I have been to multiple different centers. The primary factor that makes a difference to a student's life is not how amazing lab and infrastructure you had created. I'm not saying they're not important. They're very, very important. But the conversion of that lab into a knowledge and the practice that you do, the connecting factor is the facilitator. So please ensure that you spend time with your facilitator, you invest in your facilitator, you give opportunities for the facilitator to go back in the industry, update his knowledge, train well. It is very, very critical. You may have the great lab, but the learners would not know what to do with all the equipments that are there. It's a facilitator who ensures that all equipments are used, the learners are trained, they have spent that much of time. So number one, facilitators. Spend in your people. It's very, very important. They make all the difference. Second, it is critical for everyone to have a good industry partner. And I strongly recommend have local industry partner. It is important because they are the ones who will help you with on-the-job training. They are the ones who will keep giving you the critical changes and updates that are happening in the industry. They will also update you on any trends, any functions, any opportunities that are happening in the city. And needless to say, they are also your partner when it comes for employment at the end of the course. So having a good industry partner really helps. I mean, we are really fortunate in Tata STRIVE that we have an amazing industry partner as IHCL, who ensures that all industry updates, any new technology that is coming in the industry, we are privy to it. We are at least being informed that this is something new which has come. Would you want to evaluate if it's worth adding into your curriculum? These things keeps us ahead of our competition, and these things would help each and every training partner to be sure that the quality product that they are bringing to the market, the learners that they are graduating, are at par to the best in the industry.
Yeah, I think the trainers, as you said, are the people who are really, transforming this dream into a reality as we talk about skilling and getting the desired impact. So thank you so much, Shiladitya, for sharing your views and all the important insights that you shared from your experience about the hospitality industry. We look forward to be in touch with you to learn more from you. Thank you so much.